Welcome to part 2 of my reaction video to the Urinating Trees video on the Mariners. Now, before you watch this video, make sure to watch the first part of the video first, so you can get a better understanding what this one's going to be about.
You tired of the dick punching yet? Tough shit, Ken Griffey Jr. desires to live closer to family and demands a trade to Cincinnati? Good luck with that, Griff.
I like how Urinating Trees now playing that perspective as a Mariners management saying, good luck with that, Griff, which, yeah, literally turned out because it didn't really work out in Cincinnati with Ken Griffey Jr. at all. I mean, he was a really skinny guy, really fit, and then once you see him in his last years of Cincinnati, he looks like he just ballooned the hell out of it. But at least the Mariners got Mike Cameron out of that trade.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a fly ball hit into deep center field. Cameron going back to the track, to the wall, makes the leap, and makes the catch!
The Mariners can live without his talents as they build themselves back to a strong 90-win team and make the postseason again. They crush the spirits of White Sox on their way to the ALCS. I feel tingly all of a sudden.
Yeah, it must have been a very tingly feeling. And I will say this, the 2000 Mariners season was actually the first full season where I actually paid attention and watched and looked up players and looked at their numbers and watched a lot of the games that year. And that was where Alex Rodriguez became my favorite player of the Mariners that season. And let me show you this. This is my Alex Rodriguez action figure. Yeah, take a look at that. I'm sure most of you would like to take this to shooting practice, unfortunately, because, yeah, I know how Mariner fans feel about Alex Rodriguez, but personally, I still think he deserves at least some kind of appreciation. Like, say what you want. No matter how much you hate Alex Rodriguez, he is still the greatest shortstop the Mariners have ever had. Don't lie to yourself about that.
That tingly sensation turns out to be diabetes. The god-awful bullpen amputates the leg as all hope is obliterated by the Yankees.
That 2000 bullpen was actually improved, where they had Arthur Rhodes and Kazuhiro Sasaki, and then they just fell apart in the playoffs, especially Arthur Rhodes. And I saw that Jose Mesa actually got some innings in that Yankees series in the ALCS, which made no sense at all. Like, there's something with Lou Piniella where he's just willing to pitch really bad pitchers from the bullpen. That also includes Bobby Ayala. And if you're wondering how much he pitched, he was somehow allowed to go 1-10 in the 1998 season.
The price of failure this year is losing your star talent in A-Rod for nothing.
So, a couple things on that. One, I was devastated when Alex Rodriguez left Seattle. I remember I actually did a school report and actually had to present it to class about that. And I remember, which that was a topic I picked, by the way. And I remember when I was rehearsing it with my family, I just immediately started tearing up when I was just rehearsing because, man, I miss the guy. I was devastated that he left. But there's a lot of story that people don't really understand about the whole thing, how Alex Rodriguez left Seattle. And I do intend to make a video on that someday.
Watch as he goes to Texas for $25 million per year for a decade? Have fun being trapped, Rangers!
And the other thing, I also liked how Urinating Tree was also basically mimicking Howard Lincoln, where Howard Lincoln did call Tom Hicks, owner of the Texas Rangers at the time, a fool for making such a contract offer. 10 years, $252 million. I mean, can you blame A-Rod for taking that money? I certainly can't. I would have taken that money after working hard my entire life to become a baseball player.
The real prize, however, comes from the land of the rising sun, the Japanese Ty Cobb. A man who will not only revolutionize the game, but introduce the sport to a new audience. One name will cause the league to tremble in fear. Ichiro.
So Ichiro was actually hanging around with the Mariners organization since possibly 1999, where he actually hung out with the team in spring training with Alex Rodriguez, Edgar Martinez, and Ken Griffey Jr., and Jay Buhner. So at one point, you had all those studs playing together, or at least touching the same field at one point. And it turns out that A-Rod and Griffey, they wanted to play with Ichiro, but unfortunately that did not happen because of the contractual problems with the Ortiz Blue Waves at the time, where he was stuck on that contract and wasn't allowed to leave, I guess, until basically after the 2000 season.
The Ichiro shogunate wastes no time in committing wanton destruction across the baseball realm. A true juggernaut boasting the most talent in Mariner history. Ichiro performing as advertised, Brett Boone coming out of nowhere to be an all-star, Edgar Martinez still raking. The pitching depth is now a strength of the team. The bullpen isn't a total dumpster fire.
So things to point out there. So yeah, Ichiro, I liked how he said he was doing it as advertised. He had Brett Boone come out of nowhere to become an all-star, which, by the way, he became my replacement favorite player after A-Rod left. And there was a funny story with me and Brett Boone. So I was waiting in line to get an autograph for Brett Boone, and I was just two people in front of me, and then he left. I cried the entire day. And then when you go to that bullpen, that was actually the best bullpen in baseball. So to say that it was not a total dumpster fire was an understatement. But I'm sure he said that for a certain reason. So let's find out why he said that.
116 wins on the way to beautiful freedom. A record-breaking season full of this hope thing that Seattle knows little about.
Did anyone notice that dude in the red was trying to get Edgar Martinez's home run ball? He jumped out of his seat in center field to try to get the ball. I wonder what happened to him after that. If anyone knows, leave it in the comments.
No need for baby steps, boys. Onward to your glorious future.
And oh yeah, by the way, so after the Mariners won the ALDS, American League Division Series, I'll be honest, I didn't really have much confidence after that. Even with their 116 wins, going up against the Yankees, especially when they were literally playing under the fire of 9/11. Now, I'm not saying that's a great excuse or anything, but even without that, the Yankees were a fantastic, well-built team and well-coached. So I didn't really see the Mariners beating them at all. I mean, Oakland would have been nice because they're known to choke in the playoffs anyway, but they choked early.
Empire, the best record in baseball's history, and you shit yourself so hard that you loop back over into a laughingstock in less than a week. Like seriously, you couldn't even make this into a series? God, you're pathetic. I hope you don't make it back here for another 20 years. May Game 5 haunt you for an eternity.
What a
Farewell.
pathetic display.
So I guess maybe Urinating Tree said this back in 2001, and if that's the case, it is all your fault, dude, for making this curse go around until 2022. Thanks a lot, my man. But man, that series was just awful. It was just painful to watch. Just watching the Mariners basically do nothing, just get absolutely just bounced around, with the exception of Game 3, where they actually did score runs. And then they choke in Game 4, and that was another long story. Ugh. And then Game 5, virtually unwatchable. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I looked at the score, and I just walked out and went back to playing my Command and Conquer. That's how bad it was.
For being utterly decimated, they sure rebuild quickly. The Mariners boast another strong season and are 3 games ahead of a tight AL West. They brought cups for their fans too. No pain this year.
I sure hope those cups are strong enough against those dick punches. But that 2002 team, I mean, there was some hope that they were at least going to make it back to the playoffs. And there was even hope that they were going to win 100 games. But an injury to Edgar Martinez and, I guess, losing Aaron Seeley, replacing him with James Baldwin was not exactly good. And then you had a slightly slowed down production of Brett Boone and his offense. He certainly didn't hit 37 home runs again. He hit just 24. So we'll see exactly what happened after that.
The protection was apparently red solo cups. The dick punching continues as Seattle reverts to pedestrian form, conveniently missing out on a playoff spot. 20-game winning streaks by Moneyball will do that.
So yeah, that movie, Moneyball, 2002 Oakland A's, everything that happened in that movie and that book is literally the reason why the Mariners didn't make the playoffs. But also not to mention, the Mariners did not make any solid trades in the 2002 deadline. And a very infamous quote from Howard Lincoln was this. And by the way, it is from this book, Shipwrecked, and you should totally check this book out. You can get this book on Amazon, and I'll leave the link in there. And this is what Howard Lincoln said in this book. The goal of the Mariners is to not win the World Series. It is to field a competitive team year after year to put itself in position to win a World Series. And hope at some point that happens. People want us to do something exceptional, but what we want to do is to have the discipline to stick with our plan. So basically, he's saying that he didn't give a about winning.
Lou Piniella puts his foot down. He's had enough of the organization's cheapness and commandeers his managerial ships for Tampa Bay. Being dumped for the goddamn Devil Rays. That's embarrassing.
Actually, in 2002, Lou Piniella was so infuriated with this team that he took it out on an umpire named C.B. Bucknor. Now, here is exactly what happened towards the end of the 2002 season.
Ben Davis hits one up the middle. Mike Young gets the ball. Throws it to first, and Davis is called out by umpire C.B. Bucknor, who will get a mouthful from Lou Piniella. And perhaps the frustration of the second half of the season bubbling to the surface. Piniella gets the immediate ejection, and then we have a Class A, top-notch,
four-star,
classic, four-star Lou Piniella hissy fit. The tearing up of first base and the throwing of it. And we tear it up and we throw it, but apparently
not a good toss.
Not good enough of a toss as Bucknor looks on. There we go.
Can you believe that he threw that base? Oh, Lou Piniella. At least you went out with a bang in some way.
His more even-keeled replacement Bob Melvin leads the team, once again, to another strong start. A 7-game lead in their division should be enough motivation to get the team to add.
That 2003 season was fun to watch. Like, I had fun watching Brett Boone just completely bounce back, and that was also the same year that I graduated 5th grade, and 5th grade was such a blast for me for so many reasons. Like, I got to go to summer camp, went to some Mariners games, played baseball. Anyways, so I had hopes for that season because I was thinking, they can't do this again, possibly. They can't possibly miss the playoffs again while going on this hot streak once again.
Management is once again tied up in the back and does nothing at the deadline. Jeff Nelson has become an enemy of the people by criticizing our inactivity. He shall be sent to the Yankee Gulag. Take that, asshole.
He actually did criticize that management, and I do give him a lot of kudos for actually having the balls to go up against the likes of Howard Lincoln and Chuck Armstrong, because they literally were not doing anything at the deadline, not allowing Pat Gillick any resources to make any kind of moves. And then, of course, Howard Lincoln gets their feelings hurt.
How dare you say something like that to me? No, you're getting out of here. Go to the Yankees. Off.
The Mariners, yes, punch their fans in the dick. They slide out of the playoff picture because Moneyball decided to keep happening. That shit's a fad, we're good there.
Can't really blame Moneyball stuff anymore. I'm just gonna blame the Mariners for literally just not being active at the trade deadline. And that is my reaction video for now. There's another part coming real soon. Stay tuned for that. And if you want to get that notification, hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you know exactly when to get that update.